this is a thrift shop of soccer, Major League Soccer, and they have had their stars come in there, but usually when there has been. This is not the case with Messi, although I don't know, is Messi far from his prime at 35 years old?
People thought he was until the World Cup, and then they realized he's not.
But didn't they fix the World Cup? Wasn't the World Cup rigged so that Messi would win it?
He had a lot of PKs, yes.
Oh, come on. I mean, the guy would look at Messi cross-eyed. Penalty kick. All right, put him on the stripe. And it wasn't like he was booming these penalty kicks either. I mean, Messi's approach on the penalty kicks is great. He really does go by the old Brooklyn thing, right? Your mama.
I was going to say, it's like your dream.
And then dribbles one through the middle, not even like one side or the other. Look, I don't know much about the game in terms of what kind of skill it takes. The way he maneuvers through six guys, like the problem with the game is it usually ends up in a whole pile of shit, nothing. He makes all these moves, and he's exhausted, and he's running, he's schwitzing, and people are yelling and screaming. And then at the end of dribbling through six guys, the ball goes out of bounds, and the goalie picks it up and throws it to midfield. That's
the time.
Wake up with Defo, joined by Lubie. Welcome to the Defo Show.
Very pleasant. Good morning, everybody. Great to be with you here on the Defo Show. Jeff DeForest and one Mike Lubie Lubitz, and another spectacular day unfolding here in South Florida on this Wednesday edition as we get this thing underway. Speaking of which, and I don't want to keep beating the same drum here, Lubie. I mean, I guess it gets old. And the people, you can kind of sense when the people that are listening, I don't know, did you ever, sense that you were developing a feel for the fact that we would be on something on the radio show and dwelling on it for a period of time, and you could just hear radios clicking off, or not even, they don't click off. The people, when they get mad, they want to listen even more intently. And the phones, don't necessarily line up because the people don't want to challenge you directly anymore. But back in the day, now they would just send out a tweet and say, "What an asshole DeForest is! Did you hear what he said on the radio? I couldn't stand it anymore. I couldn't listen anymore." And meanwhile, the old thing about, this was the big Neil Rogers credo, which is you hate it so much that you can't stop listening.
Exactly.
I don't know that I really subscribe to that theory. I don't do this about soccer because I want people to hate the show or think that, this is some contrived, fake opinion that we have. I'm watching a game right now. Now, is there any correlation between men's and women's national teams? In other words, you would think that Italy and Argentina, usually, I don't know that Italy has a great men's team, but, you would think that they were representative. It is a European entity. They have to be better than the United States, no? Italy, my friend Francesco is always complaining about how the Italian team blows. So I'm assuming that they're not great, but I'm thinking Italy, it's a very popular sport there. As I mentioned, one of the real startling realizations as I was riding what turned out to be the wrong train from Florence to Rome, we ended up going through like a lot of back country. It was supposed to be an express. We ended up on some local. They're stopping everywhere, picking up a couple of farmers and sheep herders. And all you saw was soccer stadiums. Not stadiums, but ballparks. They were all soccer fields. No baseball, no football, just strictly soccer. I guess that would be football. So I'm assuming that in Italy, the women's program is probably what? Is it somewhat commensurate with what the men do? I mean, is there any correlation between, and now naturally we have a terrible men's program here in the United States. We never do anything with the men's international soccer teams. And yet the women have been great for a long period of time. So is that just a bogus theory? Because I'm watching Italy and Argentina. I'm assuming that this game has already taken place. But they were in minute number 81, Lubie. 81. And you know what the total number of shots on goal is combined for the two teams? Total number shots on goal through 81 minutes.
Oh, combined?
Combined. Two teams.
7?
They've been running back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, up and down, side to side, running, sprinting, falling, getting hurt, red cards, yellow cards, all of this stuff is going on. And you know how many shots on goal there have been so far in this game?
7 or 8. Is that a lot? It's even less than that?
Try again, my friend.
Oh, my God. It's even less than 7 or 8.
Shots on goal. Now, the total shots, I guess they count a shot even if it goes into the stands out of bounds. They count that as a shot. But shots on goal. Shots where, I guess, it involved either going in or the goalie making a play on the ball. So far, one each, 81 minutes.
Oh my God, are you?
Now, wouldn't you think that these were two of the, representatively, decent teams at least in women's soccer? Argentina, we know the Argentina men's team just won the World Cup with Messi, which is another part of this story. And here's the problem, Lubie. We're talking way too much soccer on this program.
I mean,
way too much soccer.
You're someone who hates it. You talk about it a lot.
I really do my best. People will think I'm full of shit on this, but I really do my best to try to watch the game and say, okay, here's what people see in it. I've been doing this forever. I mean, for the last 50 years, I've been watching this game and saying, okay, what is the redeeming quality of this game? Well, what makes it exciting? What makes it interesting? And the answer, for the most part, is nothing. It's a dumb ass game. If you can accept that, then it's okay, and I'll watch more of it. It's not like I'm going to turn it off. I have it on right now. You can kind of see it reflecting in the background of the Klitschko Williams poster. Which, by the way, I mean, talk about a mismatch. What was Danny Williams doing in there against the just legendary Dr. Steelhammer, man? Vitaly Klitschko. This guy could punch. But he had that bogus victory, Williams over Mike Tyson. I don't know if you remember that fight where Mike Tyson tore his anterior cruciate in like the third round and still was like winning rounds against Williams before he finally had to retire. And everybody, the English people were going, oh, look at that. We beat Mike Tyson. Unbelievable. So they came and they sent it in like crazy in this matchup against Vitaly Klitschko, which was one of the bigger mismatches in the history of the sport of boxing, the sweet science. I'm watching it back and forth, 84 minutes, 2 shots on goal, Italy and Argentina. Supposedly, I would think 2 of the better teams. Are they 2 of the better teams in the women's
I guess
circuit on the women's circuit? I don't know.
I guess
Who's good besides the U.S.?
I don't know.
Brazil? You would think these Brazilian women would take up after the men and be very good at this.
I think the French and the English women are pretty good.
I don't know if your game in basketball. I mean, I was in constant motion when I played basketball, whether it was full court, half court, whatever. I was running the whole time. I was running side to side, baseline to baseline, circling around the top. I was always in motion. I was making moves, trying to get myself free so I could just chuck from the outside. And you would experience this every now and then when you would be on a team that had another chucker on it. Okay, I didn't mind hoisting them up there at all, and probably to a fault. And I'm sure there were people that said, "Hey, listen, DeForest, why don't you try passing the ball?" Although I sort of prided myself on being a decent passer as well. And if I saw somebody that had a better shot than I had, or a shot that looked like it was going to be much easier, I wasn't afraid to let go of the ball and pass it. I got great satisfaction out of that. In fact, would you say is a great pass in basketball as satisfying as making a shot? What would you say, Lubie?
I always loved passing, and I was a really good passer. I would just get annoyed when you would make a sick pass between 3 dudes, and then the guy would blow the layup. Like that would really frustrate me. But yeah, I like passing more than scoring. I really loved passing. I was a legit good passer, and I took pride in it. I don't know. I didn't care about scoring. I liked passing. I like hitting a guy in a really tough spot and then them making the basket and everyone going, oh, shit, where did that come from?
I just always felt like every shot I took, I was going to make. I didn't take shots I didn't think I was going to make. I rarely forced one up there. I mean, you can hear the guys yelling, "Don't force it! Don't force it!" But I wasn't a forcer of shots, if you will, or a shot forcer. If I saw that it was going to be contested or going to be very difficult to make, I usually would opt out and dish the ball off somewhere. It may not have been an effective pass, but at least you're getting rid of it, and then you would hope to reset. You'd make another cut. And figure, I mean, what is the best thing that you could possibly do in a basketball game is throw it right back to the guy who just gave you the ball. Reposting, I mean, how few times do you really see this? I would watch my man Constantine Popa. That was our big discussion in various airports when he was playing for the University of Miami. And I would think, you know what? This guy doesn't really have natural moves to shake himself loose, even though he's like 7-something. But if he throws the ball out to the corner, if the guy would just throw it right back into the post, now the guy has a huge advantage over the defender who's let up a little bit.
Yes.
Simple concepts, right?
Yes.
But the most frustrating, futile thing about playing basketball, if you're a kind of a motion guy or when it was in some kind of motion offense, what was to be in motion constantly and then just have some dick, grind out the shot clock and then hoist one at the end of the shot clock while you were running around futilely the entire time, and eventually you kind of lose interest in doing that if it's going to happen time and again, and so now you lose the whole flow of the game because there's just nothing happening, and that's kind of what soccer would be like. I mean, I'm watching these young ladies and the women. They're running and running and sprinting and going crazy, just trying to catch up with somebody that got their foot on a ball, and then they make a move towards that person and they doink the ball back to the goalie, and that's it. Futile.
Yes.
1-0 Italy now, so there must have been another shot on goal. They missed it. And they're going crazy. Italy had a goal earlier in the game, but your favorite pet peeve about soccer,
Fucking
that they
offsides.
they took it down because the Italian women apparently were offsides, although that was impossible to detect. You don't need to really go to instant replay to see that. Every 3 seconds, there's somebody lying on the field too. And in fact, there's somebody lying on the field right now.
I hate the flopping, and supposedly it's a part of the game, and people just accept it, and that's fine. I hate it. I can't stand it. It's permeated into other sports in America. You see flopping, and we've seen flopping in basketball since fucking Vlade, who brought it over, and then Manu and James Harden perfected it, and now everyone in the league flops on both sides of the ball, which is still
Dwayne Wade was, no slouch in that category.
Flop. I mean, Kyle Lowry is
great
a flop
player.
Football, they flop now. You see that all the time. You'll see an offensive player go, "Oh my god!" And it's like the defender was near him. It's like
it's unbelievable. Yeah, soccer the worst though. The worst example of it because you're thinking this game doesn't look that dangerous, does it? I mean, nobody really gets near each other until they'll have like 3 people tackle the star player. I'm surprised Messi hasn't been beaten, within an inch of his life yet. Messi plays last night for Inter Miami CF. Nobody cared about this team.
And now
this is incredible. I am now seeing like news, clips from I want to call them the strikers, Inter Miami CF players that I would have. I mean, no chance of recognizing who they were or what team they played for if they weren't wearing the pink shirt. And now you're thinking, why is that guy up on TV saying something? And the only reason is because Messi isn't speaking English and isn't doing any press conferences. Otherwise, nobody cares about these other guys that are on the team, do they?
100%.
What's the guy's name? Basquet? Is that
Busquets?
Busquets or whatever?
Busquets.
Yes. Who's he? I mean,
He's good. He's one of the better players in the world.
Okay.
I mean, but he's done. He overseas is washed. But for MLS, he still would be, I guess, a top 5 player in the MLS.
I'll spit my coffee there.
He's not like Messi. I mean, Messi is still legit over there or over here. But at his peak, Busquets was one of the better players in the world at his peak.
All right, so tell me you and the lowly Shirley were watching this thing last night. I don't get Apple TV. I have no desire to get it just because Messi's playing there. But a lot of people have signed on board here. I mean, they made like $1 billion the day they announced the whole Messi thing.
I would have been. I'm not going to lie. I bought in. I don't care about Inter Miami. I won't be watching Inter Miami without him. But
this was the worst team in the league by far.
Yes.
A disgrace of an organization.
100%. Yeah.
Yes. And now the most popular team in the world is Inter Miami CF. Messi with a couple of goals last night. I saw highlights of them. I mean, did they even defend against this guy? They just let him roam free?
Yeah.
What's the deal?
It's so dumb when he's out there. Like I only watch just to see how much of a mismatch it is. Because
this is LeBron in the D League.
It's I was trying to think of like a top 3 player, like if you want to say Embiid or whoever, Giannis, someone, because Jokic is the best player, right? Let's say Jokic is the best. Let's say Giannis is the second. So it is like a LeBron or like a Tatum going and playing in the G League. That's what it is. I mean, when Dave Hyde said that they're like 16th in talent in all the leagues in the world, I like that's what that is.
It's a fucking joke, isn't it? I mean, people are getting all excited about this. It's crazy. It really would be like putting Mike Tyson in there with like the bantamweight champion of the world, and the guy is giving away 100 pounds to Tyson. And the only question is, can Tyson get down low enough to hit this guy in the head? I mean, am I missing something here, Louis? Is my assessment right? Do we need to dissect this any further? It's an outright and complete and utter joke that this guy is playing in this league with inferior talent like that, and everybody's making a big deal out of it. Like all of a sudden, the Bambino came back from the grave.
Yeah, I enjoy watching it. I am all in. If I was at home, I 100% would have been watching, especially the first half when they were dominating. But I also watch it going, this is dumb.
I blame this all on Jim Sarney. He's got me watching this crap. Come on, Jim, leave me alone with this stuff. All right. I don't necessarily want to, ride this wavelength much further, but look, I'm in the sports business, sports story business, sports reporting business, and been doing it a long time. It's an interesting story. There's no question. But, I mean, do we have this in the proper perspective? This is a rat dog of a team that was floundering, that they have Beckham there, and they got all the money behind Jorge Nomas, and yet they were horrible. And there were a lot of questions about the organization. I don't know. How many coaches have they been through in the last couple of years? Like 6?
I don't know. I'm not even going to pretend. Look, people literally got
these guys get fired more than Billy Martin, these coaches of Inter Miami CF.
Messi played to the 78th minute, and then when they took him out, they were up 4-0. People left, and there were people were pissed that people were leaving. And I'm like, what do you think they're there? Like, you stop lying to yourself. People are not going to just run and become Inter Miami fans. Like, oh my God, Inter Miami. No, they're there to watch Messi play in front of their faces.
Okay.
It's what it is.
Reasonable.
So, which is fine. But that's what I'm saying is, like, I'm one of those people. So I'm not even going to pretend to know. I couldn't name any players.
You kind of like it then, if you're a Messi fan, that he's in there against a bunch of skanks.
Yes, you get to see him do a friendly. It's what it is. You get to see Messi have live action practice. Is what it is.
Like an all-star game.
Yes, that's what it is. Every night it's Messi freelancing and having fun and them score. It's good. I think they're going to look. They don't even have the Alba guy, who is still, I think, at this point overseas better than Busquets, and they're supposed to be adding 2 more people. So it's just going to be like it's going to be like the Globetrotters is what I think they're going for. Just having like, how many can they score in a game?
I would expect this guy to break every MLS record by the time. I mean, even though he's going to play like less than half a season.
Playing 11 games.
Well, what is the record for the most goals by an MLS player in a season? Does anybody know that off the top of their head? Yeah, it's 714. The Bambino had it forever. No. I'm not sure what it is. I don't know. I was too lazy to look it up because I'm thinking Messi must be approaching that after playing 2 games. If he can average a goal and a half a game, the rest of the way, does he break the record for all-time MLS scoring? Where's Landon Donovan when you need him? Where's Alexei Lalas? Or where are some of these guys, that you recognize from the past? Because there was that one year that we had like a somewhat representative men's team, and even they flamed out in the end. But the game itself is just stupid. It's nothing against the players, the people that play it. If you like playing it, you like watching it, that's all fine. I'm just watching the overall futility that's being exhibited by these 2 teams that are out there right now, where we still don't know how much time is left in a game between Italy and Argentina, and they're already 5 minutes over. It has a +7. At least they give you somewhat of a mild indicator as to when this game is going to end. But it still sort of ends arbitrarily. Why can't they put this time up on a clock?
And I love that it's plus. It's not even like
it's sort of +7. Yeah.
I love that it's 7. It's like that's a lot of extra time.
In other words, there were 7 minutes of this game where people were just idly lying on the ground, faking an injury so that they could, maybe draw some sympathy from the officials, and then get, look out! There's another yellow card. Woo! Wow. All right. So that's very much in the news. But how does this Messi story get treated the rest of the way? Now that we know that he's in there against competition.
And the season goal record, which I don't think he'll reach, but they have 11 games, so if he can start getting 3 a game.
Okay, you could get like he gets 20 goals. 34
goals. 30 Carlos Vela in 2019. 34 goals is the record.
30. And how many games did they play altogether?
He played like 30 something. Oh, you're trying to say like if you attribute it to the amount of games he played?
No, I don't want to do
30 games. They play like 30.
Extrapolate. Yeah.
32 games or something. I don't know, something like that.
We're not going to prorate Messi's records. I mean,
I was gonna say-
listen, if he doesn't hold, if he plays next year the entire season,
Oh, good. I mean,
and doesn't hold every single season MLS record in
Oh, yeah.
every important category when it comes to offense, then there's something really wrong there, right? Then they ended up getting a has-been, that's for sure. But anyway, so they win last night, Inter Miami CF. Now we don't know what is it that they're winning. They're winning some tournament that didn't exist before. That was made up with the anticipation that Messi was coming to the league. What's the deal on that,
What do you mean?
Lubie? I mean, how
Oh, well, it's so
convoluted is all of this stuff that they're doing to present the fact that Messi, for some reason, which I mean, I understand it. Look, the guy can walk around and roam the streets of South Florida freely here. Nobody knows who he is. Even all the Messi fans. Where are all the Messi fans? Aren't they waiting outside where they haven't figured out, where he's living? He's roaming through Publix. He's at the deli counter, and they're like, I was next. They just elbow Messi out of the way, and he flops.
And then he falls.
The Publix manager comes running out there with the insurance guy. No, nobody touched you. What are you talking about? You got number 87. You're up next. Here you go. Pound of roast beef on the house. What kind of joke is this? I'm sorry, people. You know what? If you're alienated by my position on soccer, I'm just being a realist here. Let's call it what it is. It's an atrocity that this guy would stoop to playing against this level of competition. And look, in essence, he's essentially retired, right? Is he not?
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's better than retirement. He's getting paid a lot of money. He's going to end up making more money than if he went to Saudi Arabia.
He's going to own a league. Yeah.
Look, here's the deal. If more people come around the league because Messi came and then the league is upgraded, then him coming here matters. As of
What's
now,
Mbappe doing? Mbappe. What's he doing?
Mbappe is not coming here. As of now, that has not happened.
Who's the guy that's named after dog poop? Kaká.
He's older.
What's happening with him?
He came over. He was in Orlando and he was done. He did the Inter Miami had a guy, Higuain,
the Valderrama, right?
Who was great overseas, and Higuain was done. It's not that guys haven't come; they just come and they're done.
Of course,
Messi's not done, so it's fucking weird for him to be here.
He's been doing it a long time, though. I mean, I would imagine Messi probably was a star at 14 or something.
Yeah, I think in his 16, 17, something like that, and he's in his 30s.
It does make it look easy against these scrubs that he's playing against. And the other thing that's funny to see, I guess it's sort of heartening, is you have all of these unknown scrubs that were comprising the lousiest team in the league, Inter Miami CF, and now they're hugging Messi after a goal, and you're thinking, well, that's got to be a trip, right? For some guy.
Messi is getting. I don't know if it's a joke or whatever, but he's getting as excited with these goals, as he does in the fucking World Cup, and it's like, okay, Messi,
why not? I mean, look, when the pressure's off. You don't have to worry about, going against animals every day, or people that want to tear your lungs out.
Yeah.
Everybody just say, hey, can you believe it? I'm on the field with Messi.
I feel like the other teams are just like let's say, because they're making the playoffs is like 10% because, again, there's 11 games and they're last. So it's not impossible, but they literally have to win every game and get help. But I feel like, let's say they win all the games, get in the playoffs. Every other team is going to go, yeah, who gives a shit, Miami? You have Messi.
Yeah.
What are we supposed to do? You have Messi.
I mean, I remember when we were playing, 3-on-3 with Dr. J at the Merrick Road Park. But he wasn't Dr. J then.
Yeah.
He was. I mean, he was revered by everybody who came out there. And they said, whoa, man, that's Julius Erving. But he wasn't. It wasn't like, he was some star. I mean, if he came out in his prime and started playing at the park with you and your buddies, Louie, that would be a bit of a trip, would it not?
I mean, guys, that's actually a good comparison because people do it. Stars every offseason will go and play at Rucker, and they'll play.
But Rucker, they're playing against guys that are at least, capable.
No, but that's what look. The MLS is full of guys that are pros. I mean, some of them have played overseas. It's not the idea isn't the entire league is full of garbage. It's the entire league as a whole, how it rates to. But there are guys on every team. Like the guy Yedlin on Inter Miami is on the American World Cup team. Like he's played international soccer. I mean, half of the Inter Miami team has played international soccer, but as a whole, they're less. So it actually to me reminds me of Brucker, where these are legit basketball players. But when Kobe's out there, Kobe goes for 60, 25,
Sure.
and 14. Like,
and the crowd goes wild. So when they must have packed the place again last night.
Yep.
Okay. And these people schlepped all the way through the weeds. And I think part of that parking lot, you need a machete to work your way through. It was kind of like leaving your wedding there through the back exit. That was funny seeing the Duke and Leslie Visser with a machete. Like he was cutting sugar cane there. Incredible. Just to get to his car.
But they're not wrong. And you said that. I definitely see these guys after the game crowding around Messi and trying to take pictures and like get autographs. Like,
yeah. All right. So that story we don't know what to do with quite yet. I mean, it's been interesting. At least it's not a dud where Messi, looks terrible, looks like a shell of his former self. He looks like a shot fighter out there. And you're asking yourself, wow, how could this guy justify taking the money? One of these athletes has just hung around way, way too long. You could say that about the great Muhammad Ali, right? I mean, how unfortunate was it when he was fighting Trevor Berbick in the Bahamas at the end of his career? That fight against Larry Holmes that we cleaned up on when they made it seem like Muhammad Ali was ready to go. Because I think he was taking the forerunner to Ozempic there, and he had trimmed down, didn't have the flab kind of hanging over the shorts that he had exhibited in recent fights prior to that, and put a picture of him in the paper, and everybody bet on Muhammad Ali because they love him, right? Meanwhile, Larry Holmes, maybe, among the most underrated fighters of all time, no? Larry Holmes? The Eastern Assassin?
He was good. He actually had a nice career.
Great jab. I mean, good footwork. Didn't have overwhelming power for a heavyweight. That probably was the one knock on him, but, the guy could box. And, he's in his prime, and Muhammad Ali is just absolutely a shot fighter, right? The fight doctor's screaming at him, "Don't do it, Muhammad! Don't do it, Muhammad!" Never mind float like a butterfly, sting like a bee. And you're just watching a guy that's a shell of himself and feeling sad about it. So he's not at that stage. That's the good thing. What he's doing in there against a bunch of, by his standards, amateurs, a little bit funky, but at least he's scoring and not looking like,
it's fun. It's just, I don't know.
Aging wretch.
I'm not taking it seriously. I don't care if they win this title. They could win the title. They could lose. I don't care about any of that.
I think they should win the MLS championship. Now.
Coming
from last place, there's a story. We might have to get out there at that point to do something other than think about how we can get our hands on some tickets to scalp, which that could become more and more prohibitive as this messy story evolves even further, because people do get excited about greats demonstrating their greatness.
Yes, that's what it is, and that's what people are embracing. Is watching Messi in person in the middle of Fort Lauderdale be great. It's like a friendly. When you see these friendlies, it'll be an MLS team versus Man U. Man U and the MLS team are not on the same level, but it is what it is. Like they're playing each other to let us see them be great, because we're not going over to England. That's what this is to me, is we get to see Messi on a weekly basis for the next 1 to 3 years.
Joe Robbie's got to be absolutely delighted, looking down from that big pitch in the sky, because he had this vision for South Florida, and people laughed at him. And here it is. I mean, where soccer is all of a sudden, I don't know, how long will it remain prominent? Well, today, when training camp opens for the Miami Dolphins. And all of the reporters go, "Okay, Messi, nice job. Way to go, man. What are you doing in there with those scrubs?"
Who cares?
And they now are attached to things. I get a kick out of this because they already have the training camp analysis.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
I don't get the local papers anymore because there's nothing in them. I mean, there may be a few good people left, like Dave Hyde and all of that, but nonetheless, and I don't know. I guess it's so cheap to log on, and that's really a poor excuse. But there's really not much in the sports section anymore. Sun Sentinel, Miami Herald, an embarrassment, aren't they?
It barely exists.
They will cover training camp, though, and they always have these little tidbits here. I like a little tidbit column. Jets training camp. Are you ready for this? Read all about it, as in DJ Reed, R-E-E-D. Forced a Zonovan Knight fumble and broke up a long Aaron Rodgers pass intended for Corey Davis as part of a strong day for the veteran cornerback.
Woo!
There it is. Send him right to the Pro Bowl. We're talking about practice, not a game. Practice, Libby. Okay. Beck and Fall. Mekhi Becton, obviously a big concern for the Jets, right? Big, and I suppose he's trying to trim down this cat. Which is it because he's fat that he's been injured like
I don't know
his entire career?
No, but like with Zion, we're learning being overweight doesn't help.
Well, it's a problem right away, Lubie, and I think it could linger into the season. Mekhi Becton was beaten twice by Carl Lawson and once by Will McDonald IV. The slimmed-down left tackle, seeing mostly second-team reps, remains a work in progress after missing so much time in recent years.
That sucks. That guy was legit. I mean, I can't stand the Jets, but I feel bad for
these are definitive conclusions being drawn after watching one practice where I don't even think they're not even like, in pads yet, right?
No. I mean, they're not doing anything heavy.
So they're just basically doing a walkthrough in shorts and a t-shirt.
Like, I mean, look, maybe it's more than like these mini camps and OTAs. It's actual camp. I don't know if they're going at a full bore.
You would think so. You would think that this was a prelude to the Super Bowl, Lubie. The Rodgers Report.
Oh,
it was an up-and-down practice for the future Hall of Fame quarterback. He completed 5 of 10 passes in team drills. Whoa. Threw a long touchdown pass to Garrett Wilson and was picked off by Sauce Gardner on what Coach Robert Saleh said was an execution error from an offensive standpoint. Imagine this. They cornered the coach after this practice and said, hey, what the hell happened on that pick by Sauce Gardner, one of the top cornerbacks in the league? Aaron Rodgers, who is their savior, their salvation, the second coming of Joe Willie, is getting picked off in practice in 7-on-7 drills. And they pin down the coach, and he says something along the lines of, how great is this for coach speak? Execution error from an offensive standpoint. Whoa! Holy Joe Philbin.
Well, that was scathing.
When you get this in-depth coverage of practices and you're thinking, I really know a whole lot about the New York Jets right now.
It doesn't make me miss more. I actually give the Sunset no credit. Maybe you should scale back.
I mean, think about what you're doing. You're sending somebody out there to watch practice and then act like it was, Super Bowl 57 or whatever.
Yeah, that's dumb. Look, back in the day, I get it because we were able to. They did more in practices, so maybe the way practices have been diluted the last 5+ years.
Right.
We used to make fun of them, and we love Perk, but we would, and you'd mock. You would talk to Perk about it too.
Who's hot and who's not? That was the big thing.
Tweeting. The live tweeting is my favorite when they're like, "Oh, Tannehill just overthrew." What does?
What a surprise! Yeah, exactly. It's the guy who could overthrow a small government. Had he been behind the January 6th insurrection, it would have worked. Mike Pence would have folded under the pressure and said, all right, I think my guy won. Okay. All of you phony electorates, just waltz in here and cast your ballots here for the state of Minnesota. Yeah. The great state of Minnesota, which voted largely in favor of Joe Biden, has decided to give all of its votes to Donald Trump.
Hand them over.
Unbelievable. All right, do we get to this? Lubie, pay dirt. How about pay dirt yesterday? You want to go into pay dirt?
I don't know what that is, but go on. I'm ready.
Justin Herbert, $260 million extension.
Yeah. Good for him.
Okay, so they worked that out. I mean, Tua's got to be salivating if he can stay healthy.
He just has to stay healthy. I mean, Herbert's whatever I say about Herbert, he's played. I don't know if he's missed a game, and if he has, he missed a game. Like, he hasn't missed any time. Like, the dude.
He's been good. I know you don't like him, but he's been good.
No, he's been really good. I just don't know if he's in the Burrow-Mahomes conversation. And
probably, cut below that at this point, for sure.
That's my thing. You want to put him above Tua, fine. He's been consistently better, and he's been on the field, which are the two things Tua hasn't been. So
looming once again, and leading to the magic question: how badly did the Dolphins blow it by taking Tua over Justin Herbert?
I mean, Herbert's won the same amount of playoff games as Tua.
One move like that can sink a franchise for a long period of time.
I mean,
we're still hanging on, waiting to see the jury, as they say, still out on Tua Tagovailoa, right? We've seen flashes of greatness. We've seen flashes of Yeah.
I mean, but Herbert and the Dolphins and the Chargers have done very similar things. They've made the playoffs. They flirted with the playoffs. They've lost. So if anyone wants to ask that question right now.
But they're being coached by Brandon Staley, who would be the antithesis in terms of smarts.
100%.
Our current coach here.
So even with Herbert, you can still fuck up a franchise, as the Chargers are showing you. So we'll see. Look, I get it. It's next guy up and all that. It's just weird that every guy has to set the record. Like I don't. There used to be like an understanding when Mahomes gets paid, he's Mahomes.
That's going to be it. Yeah, exactly.
Like, I don't get. Well, Herbert, who's really good now. So Burrow's like, yes, thank God. Now Burrow's going to jump him, and it's like, Dak Prescott isn't Burrow. Like, why is Dak Prescott now? Like, I don't understand that every guy has to jump the guy before.
The disparity in pay. I mean, I know that it's become common to say that running backs are interchangeable. I don't know. Are they completely interchangeable? I mean, could you be interchangeable if you had Barry Sanders on your team? Could you, just say, okay, we're going to lose Barry Sanders in his prime and we're replacing him with Sony Michel? I don't know. Isn't there some difference in the quality of play of running backs where you see certain guy? I mean, certainly a Derrick Henry. Is he just routinely replaceable, Lubie? You look at Tennessee without this guy, and you're like, well, what the hell? They're nothing. They're relying on Ryan Tannehill, for God's sake, to throw the football. It's a passing league. We know that. That's what everybody says. So, the running back, it would also help to be like McCaffrey, have some versatility. But the disparity in salaries between quarterbacks and running backs. So wouldn't you have thought, like back in the day, Lubie, maybe it was true then that the running back was clearly the second most important position that you can have on the team. Some would say left tackle.
Oh, it depends. I mean, if you're talking about the 60s, sure. I don't know. Into the 80s, they started passing. Once they started passing, the running back already started to lose luster. I mean, into the 90s, you still had the Emmitt Smith and Barry Sanders carrying franchises. But even Emmitt Smith was on an equal plane with the receivers, with the quarterback, with the linemen on that Dallas team got a lot of credit. The defense got a lot of credit. Like by the 80s and 90s, the running back already started to lose favor. And then into the 2000s, you started to see people not give a shit about the running back. And now it's
well, the bitch is too, with the way the system is structured, it becomes even more prohibitive because these running backs, well, in this case, this year, there were like three prominent ones that were all franchise tagged. Pollard resolved his differences there with the Dallas Cowboys and signed. Now Saquon Barkley, who was supposed to get $10.1 million via the equation that they use, the average of the top five guys being paid at the position, $10.1 million was the figure for the franchise tag on running backs. They somehow worked out a deal where he was going to make like $11 million with, I would imagine, some very easily achievable incentives.
Yeah.
Like that he is actually on the team bus for the first road game.
Yeah.
On time, or gets there on time. I don't know what the incentives were. They added about $900,000 to the franchise tag number, according to reports. But if you think about it, I mean, the highest paid running back is McCaffrey, $16 million a year. He got 4 years at $64 million. Alvin Kamara gets $15 million, and then Henry 12 and a hook. Nick Chubb 12.2, Aaron Jones 12. I mean, think about that though. I mean, guys like Kirk Cousins, very maybe slightly above average quarterbacks. A guy that never seems to be able to get you to the promised land, but nonetheless, you look at him statistically. Is he terrible? Does he have some big games on occasion? Sure. And that guy's worth like $40 million.
Oh, yeah. Oh, no. I mean, they're talking about his own team. They're like, Barkley can hit every incentive and he'll make like 20-something million less than Daniel Jones. You can say
right? Daniel Jones, is not as instrumental in what they do. Yeah.
If they just had I was going to say if they just had, and that's what Daniel Jones, I was going to say if they just had an average quarterback, which is what Daniel Jones is, and Barkley's there as their bell cow, they will win games. Well, that's what Daniel Jones, like you could put any quarterback there. It's more, that team is one example that a running back actually matters more than the quarterback in this day and age. But we fooled ourselves that anyone playing quarterback matters more than the running back, no matter who it is.
Bottom line is that these leagues and owners and teams have to be just busting with cash.
Oh, yeah.
To be able to go ahead and nobody's really fetching about it, right? I mean, you would think the owner would come out and go, I can't believe we had to pay this stiff $50 million a year. Jaylen Brown, gets this max extension from the Boston Celtics. We didn't even know if the Boston Celtics wanted to keep this guy. There was, speculation, and there has been for some time that Jaylen Brown, that dynamic with Tatum, just doesn't work. they may be both marvelous players individually, and yet it seems like because they do somewhat similar things, and both are scorers essentially. That it doesn't work. That it doesn't play well. That you probably would be better off with one or the other. And most people would say that Jason Tatum would be the guy that you would want to keep a little bit steadier. Maybe I don't know. Is he any less spectacular than Jaylen Brown? Jaylen Brown can really look like the second coming of Michael Jordan at times, and then at other times you're thinking, when is this guy going to hit a shot?
Exactly.
But for the most part, a very good player. There's no doubt about it. I mean, you would like to have him on your team, would you not? Jaylen Brown. If Jaylen Brown was the guy that the Heat were talking about instead of Lillard, would you be almost as excited as you are about getting Damian Lillard?
I'd rather have Lillard, but Jaylen Brown would definitely become their second best offensive player. I don't know. He wouldn't be their second best player, but he'd be their second best offensive player. They're able to get Jaylen Brown. Look, that deal's ridiculous. I mean,
$300 million for this guy.
He's not. He's the second best player on his own team.
Bill Russell's got to be rolling over in his grave. Say what?
He's maybe a top 20. I know he was second team All NBA, so that would make him top 10, but he's not. He's not top 10. When you break down the 10 best players in the league, Jaylen Brown isn't it. He's top 20. So you're telling me a top 20 player should, even for a week or however long it is, be the highest paid player in history? Like I don't understand.
But it seems to be an automatic. I mean, there's not like it isn't like his agent went in there and went through these let's hash it out until midnight negotiations. These salaries that are being doled out almost seem to be standard, don't they?
Well, in basketball, when you hit certain thresholds like All NBA, second All NBA, you open up a supermax. So standard supermax deal, and once a player knows he's worthy of that, he's not going to take less. So it's sort of it's like the NFL draft where it's slotting, where it wasn't that the guy did such a good job as an agent. Jaylen Brown got himself to be an All NBA second teamer that unlocked the supermax. Now he gets $300 million, but it doesn't mean that it makes sense.
Yeah.
Because next year Tatum's going to be open to like $260 million or something like that. So you're going to tie that much money into two guys. And look, I get it. They're
two guards too. I mean,
they're making conference finals. They are, which is better than sucking. Believe me, we've known sucking. But it feels like they're hitting their cap at some point. Like it feels like they're hitting a plateau, that Celtics team. So it's like you're going to put that much money into two players who play the same position and you're not improving. Like it feels like they're staying the same or going backwards. But again, if you get rid of one of them, you look like an asshole. Like because you're not keeping.
I don't know that I would have wanted to lose Jaylen Brown, but
that's the thing.
The idea. I mean, it's incredible. I mean, you think about the capital that's being generated here, and you're wondering where on earth it has to be. What television contracts and merchandising, international marketing? Well, what is it?
Yeah,
that's bringing this about. Just ridiculous. I mean, gobs of money for virtually everybody. We know the salaries in baseball are sick. I mean, imagine making $50 million this year, and then even if you have a lousy year, you're coming right back next year, and you get another $50 million.
Well, look, the Hornets are an atrocity, right? Like the Hornets are a joke. They don't compete. They get lottery picks every year. Their lottery players do nothing. LaMelo's okay, but he's still hurt most of the time, so he's not like the face of the league. And they just sold for $3 billion. $3 billion.
Sure.
The Charlotte Hornets. It's not even like the Clippers. Okay, they sold for $2 billion.
No,
they're in LA. This is
relatively small market by NBA standards.
They've never had success. They have no idea what they're doing. They don't really have a legit franchise player. They're in a smaller market.
What was Michael Jordan, the Derek Jeter of the NBA, in terms of being a sports executive?
Worse. I mean, Jeter knew to get the fuck out. Like,
Jordan lingered there for like 13 years. Remember when he brought Leonard Hamilton in there? Unbelievable. Leonard Hamilton, a coach in the pros. All right, but the money's staggering. Absolutely incredible what's being doled out in professional sports today. Only going to get even larger when Shohei Ohtani hits the free agent market after this season. And the question still remains. The Marlins losers last night, by the way, 4-1 to the Tampa Bay Rays, and they play today, I think, at 11:30.
Yeah, it's like a weird
11:30 in the morning. So that's good. They can get out of town there. They are 1-9 since the All-Star break, and doing a nosedive out of the spot that they had occupied for a good portion of the first half of the season, where you thought, wow, this team is going to the postseason. So we'll see what happens. Glenn Geffner, great job yesterday by Glenn Geffner. And he pointed out something that I was missing. which was that the starters being unable to go very long distances into games now is starting to really haunt them.
Yeah, but that's the thing is, I guess it is with them. It's not the analytics. It's guys have sucked. So they're like Cabrera had 3 runs in the second inning. So they're like, okay, come here.
Something happened to him though. I think he had a blister or something.
Maybe. I mean,
because he came out after a relatively low number of pitches, and I saw our good friend Craig Minervini talking about it because I caught a little bit of the post-game show trying to figure out what's going on. And he was saying, and Jeff Nelson, who does a nice job, was in there with Craig, and he was, I mean, I don't know that I need analysis of a blister, right? You think of blisters, you think of Nolan Ryan, you think of sticking it in some pickle brine.
Remember Beckett? That was like a whole thing with fucking Beckett forever.
They'd be like, well, your finger here, and you got to cut the toenail a little bit, and then, if you throw the ball this way, and it got the thick seams and the small seams, it depends where the baseball was made and which lady sewed up the seams. It's a fucking blister, right? People get them all the time, right? You put your shoes on wrong, you go for the walk of life, and all of a sudden you got this giant blister on your Achilles.
There you go.
And you're saying, fuck, I knew I should have worn another pair of socks. I mean, it would be a problem if you were a pitcher, but think about it, right? I mean, understandably, a bad irritant if you're trying to do something that involves touch. But, when you think about Matt Tkachuk playing while being decapitated.
He had a broken sternum. I don't even know what does that mean?
You'd think this guy could take a pin and pop the freaking blister, no?
Tape it up. Yeah.
Something.
100%.
Right?
Whereas hockey players are like the roughest. I feel like baseball players at times.
Oh, my God. A hangnail, literally, is what's causing this guy's problem.
Didn't a guy miss a game because of a hangnail? Like, I feel like that happens. Like, guys miss games because of the weirdest stuff when it comes to baseball.
Go with the Greek. Get yourself a pedicure there or whatever, a manicure.
Exactly.
Do some manscaping. This money is being doled out by the NFL, and we'll get into this further. We have Tony Segreto who's going to join us at 8 o'clock. We're looking forward to talking to Tony, one of the greats, old school with Tony Segreto. But, this is against the backdrop of the league suspending now double digits in terms of number of players that have been suspended for gambling-related incidents in the National Football League. A very poorly explained concept. I don't think, and Brett Tesser has addressed this on the show, where, they didn't really spell this out so clearly to people. They don't know what they can or can't do. Now, you're an NFL player. You're like 21 years old. You've just been handed. I mean, look at some of these guys, the quarterbacks that are coming into the league. All got like in excess of $35 million, I believe.
Yeah,
the top few guys, right? Stroud and the Alabama quarterback. They both ended up.
Bryce Young.
Bryce Young, yeah. He got like $40 million to sign.
The Gator dude was drafted in the top 5, so I'm sure he did decent.
Yeah, he got like $35 million, something like that. Richardson, right?
Yeah, Anthony Richardson, yep.
And he's not even necessarily going to play. Now, and this goes back. I mean, Aaron Rodgers and Alex Smith, they were kind of in the last year where the draft slotting, I don't know why teams wanted to pay this kind of money for guys. But remember, Alex Smith got like $60 million to sign
I think it was
as a number 1 overall pick.
It might have been Sam Bradford. It got up to like
Bradford also made out
this number, and then they said, screw this. And they started over, and they did well for a while, and now it's back up to like 40.
Sort of really worked its way back into, that upper strat. You're not getting a bargain. I don't know, what kind of deal did Tua get? He was a mid-round pick, right?
He was 5.
He wasn't getting, he wasn't getting anywhere in the neighborhood of
He was our 5th pick, and I think he got in the 20s, but it wasn't like 40.
Right. Yeah, I'm thinking. Yeah, I don't know why I was thinking he was picked 15th. Yeah, 5th pick. That's right. Well, 1 ahead of Herbert.
Yes, he was ahead of Herbert, behind Burrow. Remember, that's the whole.
See, do you believe that you could have all of the stuff that is kind of camouflage for the fact that you might have made one serious blunder? It doesn't look as bad because Tua is not a complete waste of time.
Yeah, we'll see if the Dolphins.
If Tua was Zach Wilson, I mean, then.
Yes, that's my thing with the debate is what if they're all 3 just good? Like that's what the one thing people are struggling to get their head around is what if they're good? Now the problem is Herbert and Burrow at least stay on the field. Burrow almost died, broke an ankle behind the worst offensive line ever, played the next year and took a team to the freaking Super Bowl the next year.
Everybody believes now, and do you believe this, that Burrow is the best quarterback in the game?
Second. I mean,
better than Mahomes.
No, that's stupid. Whoever says that's fucking dumb.
Everybody says that. Chris
But
Collinsworth was saying that the other day on FanDuel TV.
He's a fucking moron. Burrow is the second best. I mean, for a guy that's in his fourth year, that's pretty impressive. Try to be the quintessential, definitive second best. But Mahomes now won a second.
Mahomes and Burrow show up at the park. You're picking a team. You're playing for money against Andy's team, which is heavily backed by his stockbroker friends.
Every time.
You're taking Mahomes?
Mahomes can do the stuff Burrow does and more. Burrow does not do what Mahomes does and more. Burrow's, I guess, a little bigger is why. I don't know. I don't know why. Mahomes makes everything better. Burrow does too, just not to. I mean, Mahomes is already, to me, an all-time great. Burrow's not there yet.
All right. You wouldn't put Mac Jones in that category?
For Mac Jones.
I was reading a real stupid article because, we love lists and we love rankings in sports talk. And somebody, CBS Sportsline, which is the source I go to in the morning here, and they have, sort of a general periphery of stuff. Well, it's not the most in-depth, but they do a lot of speculation. Stephen A. Smith, ESPN type of speculation. Yeah. So they were ranking each division, the quarterbacks in each division, 1 through 8. Okay. And they had the number one quarterback division was the AFC North, where they have Burrow, Lamar Jackson, Deshaun Watson, and Kenny Pickett, right?
I don't know.
How does Kenny Pickett not? Did he do anything with Pittsburgh to make you think, wow, he belongs? They're not saying that he's as good as those guys, but they're saying that overall, with those three, even Kenny Pickett does not diminish them from being the number one quarterback division in the league. Now you do have Mahomes. No, you don't have Mahomes in that division. Burrow and Lamar Jackson, Deshaun Watson, who I don't know, is Deshaun Watson ever going to be the same, Lubie? What do you think?
A lot of people are doing that. Well, Deshaun Watson needed a year. I don't know if he's going to be a top 5 quarterback, but he'll be closer to Deshaun Watson this year. I'm not doing that. I have to see it. He was out of football a long time. He was not good last year. They had a lot of talent on Cleveland. Like, talent isn't their issue, actually. He wasn't good. He just wasn't.
His focus, I don't know. I mean, as much as he could have managed to block this stuff out, whatever was surrounding him. I mean, his focus could not have been as concentrated on football as it had been in the past, and being this big star athlete. Right? You have everybody in the world saying you're a scumbag, and you're having to defend yourself against hundreds of how many lawsuits were there? Like 30?
It was like 40 something.
Unbelievable. Yeah, you got that Rusty Harden guy every day saying what was Rusty his lawyer? I think he was. Yeah. Rusty Harden. Yeah. Who, he's another. He uses the woman theory. It really has a defense, right? If it doesn't fit, you must acquit. Something that would have got you thrown out of even the lamest of law schools, University of Guam Law School. And if you got up there in front of a jury, a mock jury, and said, if it doesn't fit, you must acquit, they would have failed you, right? Johnny Cochran.
Oh, yeah, it's a stupid-ass strategy. The whole thing's ridiculous.
Right? Puts a stupid stocking cap on his head and says, if it doesn't fit, you must acquit. Get the fuck out of here, Johnny.
Who cares?
That is the worst defense I've ever seen since Tony Segreto was, coaching the Miami Dolphins and was employing the Red Sea in that famous game against Tim Tebow. I remember being in the stands and saying, no, don't let this guy do this. Don't let him come all the way back and win the game. Are you kidding me?
They were dominating him. It was done.
Tebow was out of football.
They were about to, he was about to be benched. It was about to happen, and then
nothing against him personally. He might be a fine individual, just absolutely laced with virtue. It's possible that he is, all of that. I don't know him well enough to say. What we've seen, it looked like a lot of showbiz, didn't it?
It's a load of garbage.
Tim Tebow, he was the only guy with like an entourage of over 40. Floyd Money Mayweather had less people surrounding him than Tim Tebow.
100%.
Right? And money's passing out money to all of his entourage, right? Of course you're going to flock there. You think Larry the Leaper wasn't following in the wake of some of those guys who are around Mayweather? And then here comes Tim Tebow, and you thought, wow, who's this? Prince fucking Harry? Would you call Prince Harry a defector? I mean, did he defect to the United States? Yeah.
Definitely, yeah.
How whipped is that guy? want you to leave the royal family and the billions of dollars and all the adulation that you get for no real reason, Harry, and come to the United States and be mocked like a fool.
Like, what's so different about their life? Exactly.
All right, Tony Segreto coming up in just a minute here on the Defo Show. Old School with Tony, and I wanted to get into all. Is that your FSU bias? I think you have a little spot in your heart for the Hurricane football team. No,
it's fine. I'm just honest about it. I said Cristobal was a good hire. I also said he's as a coach. Let's see if he gets better. So far, I was right because they got worse as the year went on. He made changes, which I give him credit for not sticking with wasn't working. So we'll see. I don't know. I mean, there should be expectations. They were horrendous last year. So I'm saying there should be expectations to improve. I mean, it's year 2 in the system and they were horrible. So you should only be better. Like, I agree in that regard, but what are the expectations? I have no idea. I really don't know. I'm 6 to 8 wins. Like, if anyone's thinking more than 8 wins, I don't know where they get that.
I think Tony will paint a rather different picture, and he's coming up next here. Tony Segreto, Old School with Tony Segreto, brought to you by Texas Roadhouse Restaurants. I'm Jeff DeForest. That is Mike Lubie Lubitz, and we will return with more in a moment. On that,
The time.
it's 8 o'clock.
Folks, Tony Segreto here. Let me ask you a question. What do you look for when you go out to eat? Good food, obviously, friendly atmosphere, not too loud, but good energy, reasonable prices, and a place where you feel comfortable. All those ingredients, no pun meant there, are hard to find unless you're talking about the Texas Roadhouse. You see, they encompass all of those attributes. Really, really good food, amazing atmosphere, good for a family, good for a date, or just a night out for yourself, and prices that will make you extremely happy. Their ribs, unmatched. Steaks, hand-cut every day. Everything, and I mean everything, is made on site, including their incredible bread. It's the one day, folks, that you can forget about low-carb diets. Trust me when I tell you, Texas Roadhouse, your restaurant, your destination when you say, where should we go and eat tonight?
From the newly renovated sports bar to the beautiful bayside views captured at the Tiki Bar, Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill has it all. Located at mile marker 104, the Big Chill also offers waterfront dining while experiencing breathtaking sunset views of the Florida Keys. It's simply the hottest spot in the Keys to cool off. That's Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill at mile marker 104 in Key Largo. For more information, call today at 305-453-9066.
What we gonna do right here is go back, way back into time.
We are now kicking it old school with the one and only Tony Segreto. Brought to you by Catholic Health Services and Texas Roadhouse.
Tell me, doctor, where are we going this time?
Yeah, there he is, the dancing machine himself. We go old school with our good friend Tony Segreto. Always a pleasure to welcome Tony into anything that we're doing, and especially here on the show. Tony, how are you, my friend?
I'm fine. How are you, Lubie, and Defo?
Doing all right. We're doing all right. Well, we've been in a little bit of a difference of opinion here, Lubie and I. I don't know that I formulated my opinion yet. I might be leaning slightly in Lubie's direction because I'm sensing in town here, and I know you share this, and maybe are the chief advocate of the enthusiasm around the Hurricane upcoming football season.
Mm-hmm.
And you would find this surprising, Tony. I've been scoping out various odds and propositions for the year. And I see you're getting a very long price on the Hurricanes to do various things, including, is it possible? Well, let me put it to you this way. Would you go ahead and venture, say, stick $100 at 40-1 that the Canes would make it to the college football championship and be in the Final Four?
Yes.
You would? Okay. Because Lubie's saying, I got to see something first.
That would now that would be $100 I would want to lose, but I think they're about 2 years, 3 years away. Than that. The enthusiasm I think is worthwhile.
Mm-hmm.
Is when you think about it. The changes he made, Cristobal made, and the series of departures and add-ons that I think he's doing it the right way. I think he's building it the right way. Now, does that mean wins? Maybe not. But this year, I think it'll be a lot better than last year.
Well, that's like what I think Canes fans' expectations need to be. Like, look, you're talking at a guy who's a fan of a team who's doing it the slow way. Ole Miss and Michigan State came out first years of Mel Tucker and Kiffin and looked good, and then both teams took massive slide backs. I'd rather start slow, remake the roster, which is what Norvell did. Norvell in his first 2 years totally changed the entire roster. That's why it took him 3 wins, 5 wins. Like, I think if Cristobal does that, they have a chance. The problem is people are getting ahead of themselves with last year talking about the top 10 and this year talking about contending for the ACC. It's like, okay, they traded out like 40 players. Like, to change out a roster that much, it takes time for continuity to build and people to pick up the system. So that's, to me, would be, how are they losing? How are they playing? It's, look, Bobby said it. So one of the things Bobby said that I believe in: first you lose big, first you lose close, then you win close, then you win big. And to me, if the Canes can somehow lose and win close this year, that's a step in the right direction. But talking about playoffs, like, I think you're getting ahead of yourself, and you're putting pressure on the program. And it's why Cristobal was how he was last year. He said a lot of stuff that was like, dude, like, relax, because he's feeling all this pressure for no freaking reason. It was year one. Like, what? Like, to start talking top 10s is just stupid to me.
Yeah, I think that that is right on the mark, Lubie. To expect this team to make the college playoffs is insane. I don't see it.
Well, it is 40-1. I mean, it's not like they're saying, "Hey, it's a cinch."
Yeah. But to say they'll win the ACC East is a goal that they have to reach. So
it sounds funny when you say that, Tony. You know that because you were there in the heyday.
I know.
You never thought you would see yourself saying, "Hey, if we could just win the ACC East."
Yeah.
Oh my God!
But my God, yeah, it's
Holy
hard
Howard
to believe.
Schnellenberger. Yeah,
it's hard to believe. It's hard to believe. And listen, I got to say something real quick, because if I don't say it, I won't get it out. Yesterday, they announced that they named the street after Bernie Rosen.
Oh, wow.
Oh, yeah. Wow.
That's amazing.
And they had a
gathering. Where is it? Is it near the stadium or something?
Yeah, no, near right by the station.
Oh,
okay.
Yeah. Well, that makes sense.
And they had the most amazing turnout you could imagine.
Oh, nice.
At the station. And I just thought I'd mention it because
that was your man.
I thought it was something worthwhile, because it wasn't just, if it wasn't for him in this area, we would not have what we have today. We would not have you guys here doing this. We would not have sports talk at all. He brought it to fruition, all because of one man.
Wow.
I like the fact that he had you doing virtually everything, man. You would have been the cameraman hanging from the rope ladder from the helicopter that he sent out there to get the pictures of Messi from the overhead camera.
Oh my God, this Messi thing is out of control. And then,
what do you? Well, I know you were kind of down on it, which surprised us.
And then he scores 2 goals last night.
Right.
He's assisted an assist last night.
Yeah.
My God, like, all right already, like. Let's get over it. I'm over it. Now, the women got a big game tonight, so we've got to see how they do.
Like Cerny.
Yeah, I'm struggling with Tony. I mean, I keep trying to embrace it. I don't know. I mean, you're probably much more. I know we've had this discussion before, but and you're much more of a fan of the game than I am. I just look at it. I've played virtually every game. There's nothing I haven't tried. The other day, I'm at a birthday party, and we're having a ball, just banging a beach ball up in the air while we're all standing in a pool. Okay, and everybody's into it. Yeah. I like playing any game. Yeah. This game looks stupid to me. I mean, it looks absolutely stupid.
Well. It must be something. They must be doing something right. But I agree.
Well, how is it though? Is it a hoax? I mean, this is MAGA all over again, only in the sports world.
I agree with you. It's just
the world is perpetrating a giant hoax on us, and we're trying to like it. It's one of those things where you go out with a woman one time, you know that it's nothing for you, but you go ahead and do it a second time, a third time, and then you're trying to like the girl, and she's trying to like you, and the truth is you don't like each other. I'm trying to like this stuff, and I'm really I've been struggling with it for 72 years now. It's incredible.
I am with you. I'm with you. I'm with you 100%. 100%. I'm with you.
Okay, good. Because you were a traditional sports guy growing up, but you would try other games. It was fun. Like I enjoyed trying highlight. I couldn't play it, but I enjoy attempting it. And when you watch it, you're thinking, my God. I mean, some people would say, well, what a bizarre game that is compared to soccer. But you were watching like phenomenal plays every night back in the heyday of Miami highlight, and when Dania was going strongly also. You even used to take the camera out there on Bernie's orders and cover it once in a while, right?
Yeah. Dog racing, all those, everything.
Well, it was all we had. Yeah, it was dog racing and highlight.
Well, we had horse racing too. Yeah, and that's where I think I got the betting fever from those matches early on.
Oh yeah, well, and now that you've gotten to know Joey Cornblatt, he never deliberately overserved, did he?
No.
No.
He is not a big bettor. He is not a bettor at all.
I would be amazed. I mean, if they were letting those guys bet on the games, which
I mean, even after he's done, he could care less.
That wasn't a gambler. He was a sports guy, right? Basically an athlete competing.
Yeah.
And in a sport that but it wasn't like Messi coming to America.
Oh God, no. God. If I hear that one more time, I swear.
Oh, Tony, I'm so proud of you.
I will throw this out. Throw this. God Almighty!
Did you have an epiphany or something? I love this.
No, I'm so sick of it. I'm just sick of it.
You guys, I'm in. I bought the package. Shirley and I'm texting her. The game's on. I got home. She's like, "Do you want to watch highlights together?" I'm like, "This is my dream."
This is
you would never think that people, that are familiar with this segment, you would never think Tony Segreto would be the man that says this is garbage.
And my wife is the biggest sports fan, biggest sports fan.
Yep.
And I'll say to her, so what do you think about Messi?
Huh?
What's Messi?
Even Shirley knows who Messi was.
Right.
Well,
we were saying, I mean, if he showed up at Joe Stonecrab's, he'd still be waiting an hour and a half for a table, even out of season. Did you know, by the way, you might have been familiar with this guy. I guess his name was Vincenzo. I met him a couple of times.
The
maitre d' there at Runway 84. You were a big Runway 84 guy with Marino and company. Yeah, he checked out after having some kind of heart procedure.
Yeah.
So, very unfortunate people, all over town were saying, wow, this guy was like legendary. And he was one of those guys that would have like the shoes that only he could wear.
Yeah.
Either him or like, James Brown, the singer. Right. Because, he was great. Exuding class, as we like to say about some of the people we met in the restaurant business. All right. So you're saying back off on that, anxiety that you have, Defo, about betting the Canes to make the Final Four. See, I was going to do like maybe $50 in your honor.
You can do it. Segreto said he would do 100.
I'll do 50 with you.
Yeah, you can do it. You never know, I guess.
Now that you're putting my feet to the fire on this, can you loan me the 50? And if we win, I'll give it back to you.
No. And you of all people, did you just have a big weekend or something?
No, I've been ice cold since I turned 72. I mean, I've had one winning session out of about 8 at the track. Not all of them have been tragedies, but nonetheless non-winning. And it's kind of like, as Shula was starting to lose games and Harvey Green was writing in the media guide, Shula has never had a losing season, would start out. And then it would be Shula has, never had a non-winning season. And then it was Shula's had one losing season in the last, and eventually they just like forgot that whole shtick.
Yeah. So this time
I'm day-to-day survival now at this point. I don't know what happened. When I turned 72, my luck went right out the window there. Maybe I should feel lucky that, I'm still breathing, which is good.
Exactly.
All right. Dolphin training camp opening day, Tony. Your approach was what? Speaking of Bernie Rosen.
It's today.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's today. We were out there early in the morning getting players coming in. We were out
you would
there.
hear wild birds.
We were out there
distance.
late at night watching players leave or stay in the town, stay in the facility.
Did you ever get anything from training camp? Did you, who's covered the Dolphins, literally been linked to the Dolphins for 50 years, maybe longer because you were a stringer in your youth? Did you ever, you were around the undefeated season, get anything? Did you ever go to a camp session and go, wow, I now know it all? Did you ever walk away knowing more in reality than you walked into beforehand?
No.
Ever?
No. No. No.
Did you tend to make a big deal of stuff that otherwise would seem,
my
rather
God.
simplistic?
Oh my God! It's
Like a guy would drop a pass and in practice.
oh, Mark Clayton dropped the pass.
Yeah.
Film at 11. I mean,
By the way, Mark, I mean, I hope you have some influence in this, Tony.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Hall of Fame, on the Hall of Fame ballot now, and many people. I don't think he'll get in because he wasn't as well known around the country. Obviously overshadowed by the presence of Marino and the fact that he also shared the spotlight. It seemed like
Duper.
And even the Dolphins fell into this. They couldn't separate the two guys, Clayton and Duper.
And there's another thing too. He was not. I'll put this right. I'll say it. He was not kind to the media.
Oh yeah.
He was a little aloof. Yeah.
Aloof.
And the fight with that's when Mayo.
Oh, that's right. Mayo got in a fist fight with him.
Aloof. My God, he was tough.
Mayo trying to snatch a bite of his cheeseburger that was in his locker, and Clayton took exception and started.
Where's
throwing
Lunchbox?
punches.
Where's Lunchbox this week?
We're all over the planet, man.
We were
we've
at
been everywhere.
Tropical Acres yesterday. We were at Tropical Acres yesterday.
Tropical Acres, fabled restaurant here in town. Great.
Jackson's.
Jack Studielli.
Well, I better meet. I want to meet you somewhere.
Should come to Jackson's tomorrow. We'll be at
Come to
Jackson's.
Jackson's. We'll be there tomorrow.
I'm having lunch tomorrow.
Well, then Friday, come to Gulfstream.
Gulfstream Park. Come on out Friday.
Okay.
To come to Gulfstream.
Please come to Gulfstream this Friday.
It's the one remote Defo has never missed ever.
No, I did miss one. Remember?
Missed the Tony one. The one you missed, Tony was there.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was
I
one
was
you
having
missed.
all kinds of physical difficulties there with my hand there. I couldn't wipe my ass. It was horrible. It was no fun. By the way, speaking of Gulfstream, our good friend Luca Panici, who is a real gentleman, and he was on the Mike Mayo Lunchbox show one time from Gulfstream, will be riding the fourth race, a stakes race, $200,000 stakes race today at Saratoga, Tony.
Ooh.
A 4-horse race. He's got to go against a monster with this horse, Echo Zulu, is in the race, which is like the one of the top fillies, I guess, making her 4-year-old debut. Is that possible? No. Second start, I believe, is a 4-year-old. But Luke is in there, and I'm going to be rooting him in. I hope he can pull it off there. That would be nice to see. A guy on sort of by comparison to Toga, a minor circuit, the summer racing here at Gulfstream Park, and yet, able to compete maybe with the big boys today. So we'll see what happens.
Maybe your streak will end.
No, I'm not anticipating that anytime soon, Lou. I'm hoping the Marlins losing streak ends. I guess it came to an end briefly, but they go 1-9 out of the All-Star break, and unfortunately, that story went up in smoke. All right, here's the thing I got out of training camp, but it's old school, Tone, and I used to love this, and I couldn't believe it was happening because I had been covering. I guess I covered the Rams, were the pro team in L.A., and the Raiders were there for a brief period of time while I was writing for newspapers out in Los Angeles. And I would say they both did a very good job of being accessible to the media with their coaches and their players and everything. But it was nothing like sitting down and having lunch with Don Shula at the St. Thomas practice facility. And here was this gruff, sort of, image of a coach. I hadn't met him. And I was thinking, wow, Shula, this is a legendary, iconic Newt Rockne type. And then he's sitting down just shooting the shit at lunch with like 8 guys around the table, including like a salivating Harvey Fialkov, who was like drooling over the food. And, Shula would just, kind of tell you stuff. And you got some insight into what was going on, I do believe.
Yeah, that was probably one of the greatest moments of my career, just because... you don't see coaches do that anymore.
Oh, no. No.
And after lunch, he would come over, he'd sit down, he'd kick his feet up on the chair.
Yeah, it was so
He would
relaxed.
joke with you. He would, and then in his head, he had a clock in his head. 10 minutes, 15 minutes, boom, out. He never look at his watch, never look at his hand, whatever. Just get up and leave, and say, "Nice seeing you."
Yeah, no, he was always very cordial during that period of time. It was nice to see a softer side, and it kind of ingratiated you into his persona and the team a little bit more. So you had a tendency, to find them in a more favorable light, or see them in a more favorable light.
I saw. Well, let's get with Ed, and then I'll tell you the story.
Ed Garcia going to join us here. I don't know how Ed's feeling now. He's not appearing visually, but joins us by phone. Now, are you working with Harbaugh, Ed, on trying to get out of that 4-game suspension that seems to be looming? What's happening? Ed Garcia from Texas Roadhouse.
For his own. I don't want to add any more game suspension, but I'll be happy to walk away with just 4.
I saw the 4 too. I mean, I think the heavyweight on that first 4-game block is Rutgers. I believe they can get by at 4-0 without Jim Harbaugh on the sidelines. What do you think, Ed?
Well, I'm going to sub in, so and, out a little bit over there. So we're just going to be running the ball and playing a little J.J. McCarthy and a couple of deep passes. I think I got a pretty good plan to get past those first 4, and then after that, I'll go ahead and sub in Jim.
Hey, Ed, tell us about what's going on at Texas Roadhouse, if anything new, and some of the great dishes you have there.
Hey, it's summertime, so we're really enjoying everything that's happening right now. The hand-cut steaks, legendary margaritas. Our happy hour is something that, some people don't necessarily check out. Now, they're a little bit different depending on the location, but we have anything from $5 margaritas with a kicker to, I'll tell you, we have a $4.99 value beer every single day. And that is in all across the East Coast of Florida for me, that all my restaurants do. So you can come in and it could be Saturday. It could be Saturday at 10. It could be Saturday at noon. And you can get that value beer, which is absolutely fantastic. So it doesn't, necessarily hurt your pocket, but you can enjoy, that 6-ounce sirloin with some fresh made mashed potatoes and that salad, which, is ginormous. And, with fresh cut cheddar, tomatoes, and the croutons that take 2 days make it absolutely fantastic with our made from scratch dressing. So hope to see you there real soon. Gotta come check it out.
That is a great deal. We never think about this, but you make your croutons special.
Yeah, house hand.
Tell us about that.
It takes 2 days. We actually start with the Pullman loaf. Kind of funny history on the Pullman loaf. I'll let you Google that and all that stuff. But the unique, very square bread, and the baker sits there and cuts it into pieces, and we let it stale overnight so it's a little crispy. The next day, we go ahead and toast it, and then we make a crouton butter with 4 ingredients. A little bit of butter, some Parmesan, garlic, oregano, and kind of make a compound, and we coat that onto each and every single individual piece. And then we toast it again to get that nice crouton flavor to go ahead and put on the salad. I mean, a little bit of work, but I tell you, when I walk by that tray of croutons, I'm picking at them because they are delicious.
I bet. Lubie, go ahead.
I mean, drooling. I wanted to say it's funny because these two guys are mocking Messi to South Florida. And you, as a restaurateur, an entrepreneur, a manager of a big company, I know you guys don't discriminate like the 2 gentlemen I'm doing the show with who have mocked a top 3 sport in all of the world. You represent restaurants all throughout a state that loves sports. You are a big sports enthusiast yourself. And I know the Bubba section is more of a sports bar, but we know Texas Roadhouse is great for sports. This came up last night because the Messi game was on Inter Miami. And my buddy, who's also a restaurateur, was curious, what are restaurants doing when it comes to Apple? Because you have all these packages for football, for baseball, for basketball. But who the heck is cared about MLS? Well, around South Florida, it's become a bigger deal. Are you guys looking into or already have the opportunity for people to come in and check out Inter Miami games, or is this something that you've looked into? Because I'm just curious because as I've gone around town, it's not on anywhere, but everyone I know is sort of peeking an eye toward these games.
Yes, we actually will be broadcasting the games in most of the locations.
Oh, wow.
I would definitely call and make sure, because it's really a big deal in South Florida, but we're actually also looking to work a package with Inter Miami as well. They actually reached out to Texas Roadhouse, and we may be partnering up with them. So a couple of my managing partners are very excited to chomp at the bit there. So we're finalizing some details, but I will keep you posted.
Will that put any restrictions on our expressing our opinion about the game itself? we don't want to trash it if Texas Roadhouse is behind it.
We love soccer.
How about the messy burger? Can we get one of those next time we're in? I'd like that rare with grilled onions. Yeah.
That's a great one. The messy burger. I like it. I like it.
Yeah. Good stuff.
All right, Ed. Listen, you take good care, and we'll see you next week. And keep messy. Keep that messy burger in your head.
I will too. Have a good day, guys.
All right,
Hey, may as well capitalize on it, Tone, right?
Hey, wow.
We may have to, join the bandwagon eventually.
I knew it. I knew if anyone understood, it'd be Ed. I'm like, you two people.
Ed knows it. He's a capitalist at heart. There is a messy burger already at the Hard Rock. I don't know if they've trademarked that, but they have a messy burger. I would imagine there are other places that also will be trying to cash in on this messy craze that's going on here.
You've reached out to Roadhouse and want to, instead of like most people are trying to take advantage of it, they're reaching out to Roadhouse to partner.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, smart people know what to do. It's still phenomenal. I mean, Lubie and I, and we're lucky with the Mike Mayo Lunchbox Show. We get to eat in a lot of great places all the time. I mean, we've been, a couple of different places already this week, and 2 more on tap here before we get to Gulfstream even. And some great steaks. I mean, we had a great steak yesterday at Tropical Acres, but it still is amazing the level of quality for the price that Texas Roadhouse is able to offer its clientele. I mean, you talk about family friendly. Yeah, that is Texas Roadhouse.
They try to compare Texas Roadhouse to what's it? Outback, and they just couldn't do it.
Outback at one time was good. I don't know if they've deteriorated, but Texas Roadhouse is definitely superior to that. I mean, we had that bone-in ribeye. Lubie and I both ordered that when we went there to the Miramar location. Man, it still lingers.
Yeah,
the taste of that and the side of it and the size of it, and then I'm looking on the menu there. It's like $29.
Yeah. Can't beat it.
With sides. I mean, and a wide variety out there. I'm a crouton freak. I don't know about you, Tony.
Oh, I am too. I am just.
I don't like it when you get a bunch of stale croutons out of a box. I love it when the place makes their own.
Yeah.
Makes a big, big difference. All right, Tony, what are you up to? I mean, did you go to that ceremony for Bernie Rosen?
Oh, yeah. Went to that ceremony for Bernie Rosen.
You should have been the MC at this thing, no?
It was. I spoke, and it was phenomenal. It was just
beautiful.
But I want to tell you a sweet story about Shula. We were at when he won his record-setting game in Philadelphia. I was there to do a live shot, and he came to me prior to coming on, and he whispered in my ear, "How did David do today?"
Yeah, I love that.
And David, unfortunately, David lost that.
Clobbered, because he lost every game as a coach.
I said he lost, and he just said, "I need a moment."
Yeah,
I gave him a moment, and then he came on. But he was family. He loved his kids. He loves them.
Hey, it's good, man. David Schuller, great guy, by the way.
Yeah.
Just a tremendous guy.
Really, very, very good guy. Mike Shula was not as accessible, I guess, at least to me.
Oh, he was great too.
I didn't know him as well, but David Shula couldn't have been a nicer guy. He really was a real gentleman. All right, Tony, we love you, man. I mean, come on out to Gulfstream. Bet a couple of horses. We'll give you a couple of losers if you come on out. Maybe you can help me turn my luck around. That would be great. Andy tried to do it yesterday for me, and we lost every race. It was unbelievable.
So. Well, listen, guys. I applaud your support, and we'll go a little longer next week. How about that?
Yeah, we'll
Sounds
keep
good.
that.
Sounds good, my friend.
We love you, Tony.
All right, Tony Segreto, ladies and gentlemen. Tony Segreto. Training camp, and opens up today. Miami Dolphins. How excited are you, Lubie?
Not at all. Wait,
That used to be good, though. I mean, there was something to it back then, and I was surprised by it because I'd been covering the Rams had Ray Malavasi was their coach. And they had just drafted, I think the last year I was there, that must have been 1981. They had just drafted Bob Rudzinski as their number 1 draft pick. I believe that was the year.
Wow.
And Bruce, surprisingly, as we got to know him, a really good guy, didn't say, I don't know that he said 2 words as a rookie. He didn't seem to really want to be there.
Well, then that's the other thing is like the coverage of college sports was so different. I mean, how much interviews were college kids doing in the 70s? Like, I feel like you weren't getting a lot of like interviews with, especially if you weren't maybe like in USC, the star quarterback maybe would do.
USC was very good. I remember I was always impressed with the way that they handled things. John Robinson was the coach. Was just a great guy. It was like talking to your dad, and they would have they had a ton of stars on those teams, right? Yes. I mean, you had like Anthony Munoz, you had guys like Charles White. The quarterback was Paul McDonald when I was covering the team primarily, and they had really good play. Ronnie Lott was there, but they would actually have in the locker room very organized. You could find they go, okay, Charles White's over here, Ronnie Lott's over there, McDonald's over there, the coach is over there, and you could go to the various positions and get the quotes that. All of these stellar quotes that you wanted after in reaction to another 57-0 beating of the, Little Sisters of the Poor.
But I feel certain programs had that, I'm sure, even back then.
They were very good, very organized, and very accessible.
But I don't think it was everyone. Like, I don't think every program had every guy wanted. Like, a Brew probably wasn't doing too many interviews in college, so it took him time.
Was he Ohio State? Yeah, Ohio State.
Again, Ohio State was a big program, but again, Ohio State was a very different kind of program. Ohio State wasn't star-studded and glitz and glamour like USC. Like, wasn't what he's a fucking raving lunatic. Like, he literally tackled a dude. Like, I don't think he was opening up the locker room for his juniors to do interviews. Like, it feels like there was a very different mentality.
I mean, there was that whole mentality that we don't want these guys to speak. It's kind of like the head coach that says, you can't talk to any of my assistants ever.
Exactly. Yeah, that happens a lot, actually.
I don't know. Is that good, right? I mean, if you got one assistant that's popping off, it was funny. Schuler was pretty loose about that.
What do you mean?
We got to know his assistants extremely well. I mean, everybody knew Tom Olividani and Gary Stevens and various other guys that were on Schuler's staff at the time. But then you had, more access to the players as well. It was kind of a different time. I guess you would have access to players in training camp, which is one of the reasons to go out there because you may not get that same accessibility during the course of the season. They do open the locker room up, every day during practice?
They don't
some period of time in the regular season. Can't you just waltz in there at lunchtime? But no one's ever in there.
But they never look, I used to do it in our early days because we were doing a show, so they wanted sound. So I'd go out and first of all, it's so hot. Like
it's like playing soccer, right? You just feel like you're involved in a feudal enterprise.
That's the thing. You would ask these questions to these guys who were cordial and they did their job, but they never said anything.
The answers were always the same.
Yes, it's coach speak to the freaking
same vagaries. I mean, that we were getting here as they're covering training camp for the Jets. I mean, imagine having to go and dig this out of Robert Saleh. I'm trying to find this ridiculous quote again about who's hot and who's not, and making excuses for Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers is going to the Hall of Fame on the first ballot here.
Yes,
Still supposedly has plenty of shelf life left. He throws an interception in a 7-on-7 drill, and the coach has to substantiate it by backing his player by saying something that gives you such deep insight into what's going on in the game of football. I am now ready to watch Jets football in this 2023 season. I was not prepared before I heard Robert Saleh say it was an execution error from an offensive standpoint.
Okay.
Am I relieved to find that out?
Do you really he has to really mince words like that? Like, you can't just say, look, it's training camp.
You threw a fucking pick.
Like, aren't they going to happen? Shouldn't Sauce Gardner? So is it good if
he's going out to have a beer with Sauce Gardner right after the practice here?
But like, is it good if Sauce Gardner never picks him off? Like, if the old man who just got here is so much better than the guy that's supposedly an all-pro, like, is that good too? Like, I don't understand what was bad about Sauce Gardner picking off.
It's the second day of practice. The guy just joined the team.
I know.
He's been partying all off season. Like, there's no tomorrow. Timothy Leary didn't do as much, partying as this guy did in terms of hallucinogenics and the treats and babes. I mean, he's at everything. The Met Gala. I'm surprised he didn't throw out the first pitch, at the Yankee Met game last night. Did he do that? I'm not sure. Mets, by the way, win over the Yankees. Yankee fans are in complete disarray at this point. They don't know what to do. They're beside themselves. They're thinking literally about popping a cyanide cap, and trade deadline coming. And what do you think? Is the only thing that can salvage the Yankees season the acquisition of Shohei Ohtani?
Oh, I don't know.
To the rescue! Coming in there and pitching a series of gems to the wire as they secure a wild card spot, and they get Aaron Judge back, and they have a wild. I mean, imagine this in the middle of your order. Oh no, they bat Aaron Judge leadoff, don't they? Is he bat first or second, Aaron Judge, for the Yankees when he's in the lineup?
Off? Like, I don't know why, but I feel like he was leading off at some point because
not necessarily the worst strategy. That was always a big debate. A Bill James type debate, Lubie. Whether you're better off putting your best hitter third or fourth, and I would contend that third would be the place to put your best hitter. In other words, the cleanup position.
You want to get them that extra at bat,
right? Exactly, and you want them coming up in the first inning too.
Yes, you want to guarantee the first inning, and you want to make sure they get as much at bats as possible. That's why it usually was the fastest guy, but a lot of the time they would throw in their best bat to try and get extra at bats.
I like the traditional leadoff hitter. I was a big fan of like Maury Wills, Lou Brock, that type of guy, Ricky Henderson. You always like to see that, didn't you? A legitimate leadoff hitter that could be a catalyst in that sense.
Oh, Juan Pierre here. I mean, yeah, he wasn't to the level of
Juan Pierre. I don't know about throwing him in there with those guys.
He didn't have the pop of a Ricky Henderson, but he was a guy that would get on base and he would move and he would
Chuck Carr.
He would get in scoring position.
You want a guy that can work a walk on a 10-pitch count and then steal second, put some heat on the opposition. They try a pickoff, a wild, ill-advised pickoff attempt at second base. Now you're on third, score on a sacrifice fly to shallow right field. Boom, you manufactured a run.
Okay, Louis Castillo. Then Louis Castillo was a perennial all-star.
Yeah.
He
was. Yeah, Luis Castillo.
He could get on base. He could steal bases. You knew he'd make stuff happen. Yes.
Slap the ball around. He wasn't going to necessarily overwhelm you with power. You might have 2 homers on the season. That was it. 1 inside the park.
Yes.
That type of thing.
Yes.
Brock, was one of those guys that hit home runs. Maury Wills did not.
No.
But Lou Brock would hit like 20-some-odd home runs a season.
We know Henderson.
Henderson was a home run hitter. He had a lot of leadoff home runs during his career. There were many great leadoff hitters in the history of baseball. You don't see it so much anymore, the traditional leadoff guy. But if I was, trying to write a lineup card out and I had Aaron Judge in there, there's no way I'm hitting him fourth. No. That was a big thing with Jimmy Leland, Mr. Tradition, right? That he always batted Barry Bonds fourth.
Oh, cleanup.
Yeah. And you're thinking, no, that's a mistake, man. Why not hit him third? With the Pirates, that was the case. I think he batted third when Bochy was coaching him or managing with San Francisco. Yeah.
Yes.
Obviously, Bochy way ahead of Jimmy Leland, who gets all the credit in the world for winning that World Series in '97, where he had about as much to do with it as Darren Daulton did, right? Which was nothing. Or close to it. All right, we have to run. We're coming back with more. Thanks to Tony for joining us. Ed Garcia, always great. Jim Harbaugh going to be suspended 4 games, I guess. How could you have any recruiting violations now? How was that possible?
It was during COVID.
When you can deliver a guy a bag of money and introduce him to that Ruiz cat, and all of a sudden the guy's selling, what is it? Wallets that he sells? What is that? Some online banking thing?
Wallet, but yeah, it's not wallet. It's not wallet. And that's a disaster. It's down to like a penny. I mean, I think it's under a penny or it's like.
Well, that's because he gave all that money to the Cavinder twins to average 2.5 points a game.
There you go.
But looks sweet doing it. Yeah, I mean, how can you have recruiting violations now? You can do anything, can't you?
It was during the COVID period, so it wasn't NIL wasn't just wide open like it is now 1 and 2.
So who cares about that? I mean, it's changed so much. How could you possibly penalize a guy?
The dead period, like the one thing the NCAA still has power is there are these periods where you can't openly recruit the same way, like you can't have direct contact with players. And I guess he was saying fuck it and not giving a shit about the dead period during COVID. So,
well, what difference does it make now? That would be my.
I don't know. I didn't know the
question.
NCAA power like that. And people keep telling me
But
that
to suspend them for these. Do you see these 4 schlepper games that Michigan opens up with?
Yeah, the
I
average.
think Ball State might be the toughest opponent.
The combined record is 4 games under 500.
And is the guy not coaching anyway? I mean, with drones or something?
Exactly. Like,
is there any way to go ahead and assure yourself that Jim Harbaugh is having no influence on the game whatsoever as it's going on? As what were they going to take away the cell phones of the assistant coaches? I want you to run the ball, and I want to run it right down their throats for the first 17 plays. They script those first 15 plays anyway. Does Michigan do that? I don't know.
100%. Yes. Yeah? I'm sure he'll be watching.
How can you do that, by the way? Are you just saying, hey, we're going to run our shit and hope you can stop it, and if you can, then we'll make some adjustments?
Yes, that's
is that the deal?
You're saying in the beginning, the game's just starting, so we're going to do what we're going to do, and then eventually, I guess we'll figure it out around that.
So you've got a scripted play where you're going to hand a ball off to some schmink running back for 2 yards. Standard opening NFL play, right? Well, there's the handoff, and good for 2 yards. They ran up the middle there, and they're trying to establish the running game here early on. Yes. That's going to benefit them later on. It's just like a boxing announcer talking about the one body blow that was thrown in the first 7 rounds. There he is, investing into the body there. He's putting those punches in the bank. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? But I mean, you come to the line of scrimmage there, and you've got this play scripted, and the next play is going to be like a dink pass to a running back, and you look to the right, and everybody else knows that that's going to be the play, and you see that your receiver that runs a 4-1 40-yard dash is just going to blow by the guy that's lined up against him, some linebacker at the line of scrimmage. And you're going to go ahead and say, well, no, we scripted those first 15 plays.
I don't know.
What kind of stupidity is that? You're going to say fly pattern, my friend. Just take off down the field, man. I'll get the ball to you. I'm going to throw it as soon as I get it. Just run under it. That would be it, right? I don't know. Does that make any sense? Are you an advocate of scripting the first 15 plays of your... When I hear that, I usually want to cringe.
You're like, so the game's that simple that you could know what's going to happen automatically.
But maybe that's what Michigan does, right? Hopefully they'll get... Yeah.
I
All
don't know.
All right, we're coming back with more here. Having a good time with you. Mike Mayo's Lunchbox today on the road at Even Keel Fish Shack.
Yes.
I have to say, very impressive yesterday. I mean, I know they opened up special and everything, but, they were basically giving us their standard fare because they were getting ready for another big evening, which, we're there 12 to 1. And, by what? They open up at like 4:30 or something?
Yes,
that early bird special there?
Yes.
Really good. I mean, that prime rib was as good a piece of meat as I have sucked down in the last 25 years of my life.
I don't like prime rib. Like, I'm openly saying this.
I do like it, but I never order it because I'm more of a steak guy.
I've never just ordered prime rib. If someone has, I don't even think to ask for a bite of it. Like, I'm not even mad at it.
I think the last time I had it was at my bar mitzvah.
Like a bar mitzvah.
Yeah.
I like a grilled steak. If I'm going to get red meat, that's how I like it. That's what I'd rather have.
Yeah.
Grill marks the whole 9.
There's more flavor, in a ribeye or something like that.
After that, I'm not going to lie. I can sort of see why people get prime rib. Like, that was really good. The
That was great.
was amazing. Yeah. Like, the way it was cooked. Sorry, Dickstein. The way it was cooked was fantastic. If you like stuff well done and you ate that, you wouldn't like stuff well done anymore. The way that they prepared that steak, it was amazing.
Yeah, I mean, it was on the rare side, which is the way I like it.
Yes,
I mean, I love when it comes out like that. I really do.
It was so good.
It was fantastic. Yeah, absolutely great. And I always love hearing we heard this from Ed Garcia, the various extent. And extremes, it seems like that restaurateurs will go to just to add the slightest bit of dignity and class to the dish, so to speak. And they roast that thing for like hours and hours and hours, man. Just absolutely fantastic, slow roasted. So I mean, it comes out great. Tropical Acres.
Well, the Marsala, like you.
Great job. Yeah.
Like May always talks about.
That was interesting. Yeah. Yeah, no, but he's wrong about that. He knows.
He is. Look, because that place like Texas Roadhouse. Look, and I do that. I'll go to somewhere and go, do I really get chicken parm here? Like they have it, but do I? And it's chicken parm's a simple dish, but to me, I like it. So do I really get it here at whatever place? would I get Marsala at Steakhouse? Do I really go there at Tropical Acre Steakhouse and get Marsala? Yes, you should, because it was freaking great.
That was really delicious. Yeah, they did a nice job on it.
It was really good.
I would be inclined to order either a steak or the lobster special.
Yeah, and you can't go
But
wrong.
I would definitely go for the prime rib. I'm glad that we had it. It was great. All right, so we're going to be at even keel today, and
Get our seafood on.
you have to get to the person that's going to be taking care of us
fish
first.
and chips. We haven't done it the last 2 times.
That's the best thing I've had there. I mean,
I just love
it is so good that I mean I could go there and eat that every time. The fish and chips at Even Keel Fish.
Mayo always talks us out of it.
Well, I'd like to have an oyster. How about this? I was thinking about that. Some bizarre thing with like Mayo should go to that restaurant in Tokyo. Did you see that on the news where they're serving bugs?
What?
Yeah, they have various insects. I guess it's not uncommon in some of these Asian countries, but certainly the people in Wuhan are familiar with that. But,
Jesus.
But anyway, no, they're very specific. I mean, they're like picking bugs out and putting them in like these giant, ugly-looking things, cockroaches. I don't know. I couldn't do it.
Oh,
I have no desire to eat insects. Do you?
I did do
One
it.
flies in my mouth while I'm walking Skippy, and I'm like,
Well, I don't want a raw insect, but in Thailand they have it in packaged as like a snack where it's freeze dried, it's breaded, it's
like beef
fried.
jerky. Yeah,
So it doesn't taste like a bug. So yes, I did try it. I don't know. It was like a snack.
you did. Oh God.
I wouldn't buy a package of it. But
Mayo's tried it. Yeah, he had like worms or something at one of those restaurants. His friend, the guy with the sushi place,
yeah.
made for him.
Kaizen. Yeah, the
Kaizen, yeah, good place. I mean, it
Yeah.
looks like a nice place, but you can skip the silkworms, okay? I said I wanted the steak butterfly, not the butterfly,
Exactly.
butterfly steak. Yeah,
Exactly.
All right, now we're coming back with more. We're getting off track here. Even Keel Fish Shack today. That's A1A and Commercial.
Yes.
Lauderdale by the Sea, my hometown. It's right down the street here. I love going there, and we're going to have a lot of fun out there. 12 o'clock today, right here in South Florida Live in the Let's Eat South Florida page with Mike Mayo's Lunchbox.
Yes.
All right, we'll come back and finish off this edition of the Defo Show in a moment. Now that.
The time.
You know what's funny, Lubie? I'm sitting here the whole time, and I forgot that the Mustang stayed with her friend up in Hutchinson Island for another day. So I'm thinking, oh, yeah, speaking of walking a dog, I'm going to have to take care of it, like right after the show. Yeah,
Yep.
She usually does the morning walk. I do the nighttime. And the thing is weird, though. I mean, I don't consider this indifference, but it just took me till now to realize she was still good.
You forgot. Your life doesn't change at all. It's the same with or without her.
Sorry, sweetheart. I didn't mean that in any kind of disparaging way. It's just
So amazing.
maybe it's a byproduct of getting old, or is it that you're getting old, or just getting used to it?
Getting used to it is what I would do, because I'm not the same way. If Shirley's gone, I know it because my life's easier.
No arguments.
I
Nothing.
adore her. We're not indifferent, but I'm like, oh, thank God.
Yeah, you don't have to worry about, I told you not to leave the dishes in the sink. Okay, so now you wash them and you leave them on the other side of the sink. Well, I told you not to leave them there either.
Oh no, she doesn't. See, our house is the opposite. I'm the cleaner, and she is not. But it's from the other house, babe. Whenever I hear babe, it's like, oh Jesus Christ! Like, what the fuck do I have to do now?
We have separate floors working here.
I know
That helps a lot. Yeah, I mean it's way up there, man. I was up there last night
I was up there.
looking for a pair of shorts I left in a beach bag, and I was like, wow, man, there's a whole nother part to this house. Incredible. Wasn't such a bad buy after all. All right, we're coming back with more in a moment. Now that.
The time.
Pouring rain. I mean, is this game live here? Canada and Ireland, I guess it is.
I think so. Yeah, it's like
You see these conditions? Horrific. But they go ahead because it's such a stupid game. They just play it. And now there are players all over the field being injured.
they just play it.
They don't care, right? It doesn't matter. The
They
conditions are of no consideration whatsoever. They played the British Open in this weather. They acted like it was a sunny day. It's 8:48.
Folks, Tony Segreto here. Let me ask you a question. What do you look for when you go out to eat? Good food, obviously, friendly atmosphere, not too loud, but good energy, reasonable prices, and a place where you feel comfortable. All those ingredients, no pun meant there, are hard to find unless you're talking about the Texas Roadhouse. You see, they encompass all of those attributes. Really, really good food, amazing atmosphere, good for a family, good for a date, or just a night out for yourself, and prices that will make you extremely happy. Their ribs unmatched, steaks hand cut every day. Everything, and I mean everything, is made on site, including their incredible bread. It's the one day, folks, that you can forget about low-carb diets. Trust me when I tell you, Texas Roadhouse, your restaurant, your destination when you say, where should we go and eat tonight?
From the newly renovated sports bar to the beautiful bayside views captured at the Tiki Bar, Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill has it all. Located at mile marker 104, the Big Chill also offers waterfront dining while experiencing breathtaking sunset views of the Florida Keys. It's simply the hottest spot in the Keys to cool off. That's Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill at mile marker 104 in Key Largo. For more information, call today at 305-453-9066.
Recently we realized it's not just hurricane season that can hurt us. Any time of year, things can happen to your home.
Ponies in Style at Champions, the outstanding simulcasting room at beautiful Hialeah Park. Yes, the grand old lady of thoroughbred racing has never been more vibrant, and you can wager on the races from the top tracks around the country while enjoying a cocktail at the Brass Rail Bar or any of the fine food served throughout the facility. If poker is your game, you're covered in Style, and you can play all your favorite Vegas-style games, including blackjack, craps, and roulette, in Hialeah Park's sizzling hot casino. Get a player's card when you walk through the door for all kinds of generous amenities, including our favorite, free play, when you come out to the ultimate casino and entertainment destination, Hialeah Park.
These days, we're all looking for comfort anywhere we can find it. Thank goodness for Landlubbers Raw Bar and Grill in the Plantation, because they are making sure you are as comfortable as possible. First of all, they're not only open for delivery and pickup. All you have to do is go to landlubbersbarandgrill.com for both pickup and free delivery. You're going to have the best wings in the world. You're going to have a great burger. You're going to have their amazing soups. Again, Landlubbers, Raw Bar, and Grill. It's nice and easy. Just go to landlubbersbarandgrill.com for both your pickup and free delivery. Thank goodness for Landlubbers for making you always feel right at home.
Are you looking to buy your first home? Have you been turned down for a loan? Do you need to refinance or get money out of your home? Call Michael Kodsey, CEO of Choice Mortgage. He's been helping the South Florida community get mortgages for 30 years.
Hi, this is Michael Kodsey, CEO of Choice Mortgage. We have the most competitive fixed rates in the market. Call me 24/7, 561-441-2730. And remember, I don't just work banking hours. To make the right choice for your home, call Choice Mortgage today.
Which is in the state of Florida, has been in the Stone Age forever. I mean, we're still operating by blue laws. I don't even know if you can buy a beer before 12 o'clock on a Sunday. I'm not sure what religious cult is responsible for the legislation that takes place, but essentially Florida is structured this way. We're here in South Florida, which is very hip and up with modern times. And once you get, would you say, north of Palm Beach, Mike Lubie Lubitz, West Palm Beach, Florida, for those unfamiliar with the geography of the state, if you get like 30 miles out of town here, forget about it. It's Hillbilly City. You're hearing banjo music and somebody's telling you to squat down like a pig when you pull up to the Waffle House. It's just the way it is.
The modern day odd couple, Defo and Lubie, are on now. It is, of course, the Defo Show.
All right, Marlins baseball on the agenda today. 11:30 start against the Tampa Bay Rays. The Rays battling the Orioles, who have expressed an interest in Shohei Ohtani.
Oh, really?
Imagine? Yeah. I don't know if it's just, as they say, doing their due diligence. Like, hey, can you give us Ohtani for, some ribs from Boog Powell's place out there in right field? And they say, no, go fuck yourself. And so, well, we looked into Ohtani. Supposedly the Diamondbacks, maybe also. I mean, these are two teams that are contending. Diamondbacks, I guess, have slipped out of a position where they're in a post position spot. Not sure. They were, slumping, and the Orioles have been surging and have played really well of late, coming out of the All-Star break. So that's kind of interesting, right? Our friend Dan Solomon, remember Dan Solomon? Guy who was involved with all the Mr. Muscle, Mr. Universe stuff.
Yes, I remember Solomon.
Been a lifelong Oriole fan. Goes to Camden Yards every year to catch a couple of games with his kids and everything. Yeah, he hasn't had much to cheer about. All of a sudden, holy Buck Showalter, man, the whole team. So that's been interesting. But that's coming up. What, August 1st? The trade deadline in Major League Baseball.
Yes.
We had a pretty
August
good
1st.
analysis yesterday from Glenn Geffner.
He was
You have
great.
said that if the Marlins don't make some kind of a deal, you are finished with them, and will never root for them again if they don't do something. I don't know what there is to do. Cody Bellinger, who are you grabbing? Who could you possibly get that was going to help this team? And the other question is, what do you have to give up, Louie? What do you have to give up?
I mean, if it's Ohtani, you have to give up a lot, but I don't mean it's. I don't think it's necessarily you have to give up a lot for just anyone. Look, I don't know what to do with the Marlins.
I mean, long term, after this is you trade for him, you still don't have him. For the rest of the season.
You're not getting Ohtani, but I don't know what to do with the Marlins because here's the deal: they're getting in weird territory where if they keep losing, then do you now just say fuck it because they're one game back now. The trade deadline's next week, so they still would play, 4 or 5 more games?
Kim Eng picking up the phone right now was saying, hey, anybody want Avisail Garcia?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly.
We're paying him like a lot of money to do absolutely nothing. And nothing against this guy, but that was a bust as a free agent signing, wasn't it? It was supposed to be one of those moves that was going to bolster the team. We want to be optimistic, though, Lubie. Can they do it today? What do they have going? I mean, it's unfortunate that Sandy Alcantara, every time I see Sandy Alcantara pitch and I watch the Marlins, I understand that the hometown announcers, and I'm not knocking them for doing this, are going to try and put somewhat of a positive spin on virtually everything, right? And every time I've seen Alcantara pitch in the post-game show, and again, alluding to our good friend Craig Minervini, who's a great guy.
We love Minnie.
And they're always trying to speculate, whoever he has on with him, Gabby Sanchez, a variety of other guys that do the post-game show, they're all stipulating, oh, yeah, well, this is a sign that he's ready to break through.
No, he had one good start.
He has not broken through, man. He somehow, from one year to the next, is not the same pitcher. Now, does it mean that it'll be that forever? I don't know. Guys have down years and come back.
He's still young. I mean, that's the funny. They actually paid him. They kept him. He's still young.
He's on the mound tonight.
He's playing today. He's pitching today. That's why I thought you were talking about him. We'll see. The Rays are good, but they've also been slumping just like the Marlins. So there's no reason why and it's not like there's a big road.
Now this guy Eflin on the mound. Eflin.
There's no reason why they can't take
11-5. Yeah.
Split the series because it's a 2-game set, and then they play the Tigers this weekend at home, and the Tigers are dreadful. So look, if they can split this set and go in and take care of the Tigers like they were doing in the first half, and they played sucky teams, then yes, I'm hoping they go and get a bat and a couple reliever, and maybe a couple bullpen arms. But we'll see. We'll see how they fare this weekend. I think that's going to be a telltale sign to see what they do early next week.
I think this is, I hate to think this is going to be much ado about nothing this whole Marlins season.
It'd be annoying because they really showed a lot, and it wasn't just for a week. It wasn't just for a month. It was for an entire, more than half of baseball.
It was a nice story. It was. I mean, this bunch of, it was very much like the rest of our teams, right? Where you had all these unknowns, very similar to the Miami Heat, where you're thinking, who's really carrying his team? And there was a bunch of guys that you would consider to be of the utility variety, kind of.
Yes.
Right?
Especially in the playoffs when Jimmy Butler was on one leg and Hero was hurt the entire playoffs. Bam doesn't take over an offense. So you had to have all the other guys chip in. That's literally what got them there was the Caleb Martins and the Max Strus and Gabe Vincent and Kyle Lowry, who everyone thought was a horse that should be shot. Like you literally had a bunch of those guys that were all written off as either also rans or were duns.
You can embrace that if you're rooting for a team, no?
FAU, I mean, come on. There's no way outside of special.
Who are they? Exactly.
Named one player in FAU before that.
I still can't. Who was the big guy, the Italian kid?
The big guy?
Romanian, whoever he was.
That was a guard.
Might have played on the Syracuse freshman team, Zeke Zilko, many years ago, a 7-footer. Played for Jimmy B there at, what was that, 1970 freshman squad. Eflin for the Rays today goes against Alcantara. Alcantara on the season, 3-9. Wow.
Really bad, and it's almost a 5 ERA.
4.7 earned run average.
Bordering sub 2 last year.
The team, when he starts, is 7-13, so playing .350 baseball. And he's not particularly good, of late, although not terrible. He was 0-2 in his last 2 starts. Back to the no-run support. He had an earned run average of 3.38.
Yes.
So there it is. clear-cut sign that he's snapping out of it, Lubie. I think he's back to being the guy he was last year. It's only a matter of time.
Uh-huh.
Mel won't let him, rot and just deteriorate to the point where he's no good anymore. This Eflin guy for the Rays is having a real good year. He's 11-5.
Of course he is.
3.36 earned run average. Team's 14-5 in games that he starts. Of late, 2-1 in his last 15 innings, 4.20 ERA. So maybe trending a day game there in Tampa and St. Pete.
No one will be there.
Thunderdome.
Yeah, no one will be there.
No one will be there, right? You'll be hearing those jungle birds.
You'll hear the guy yelling peanuts.
What is that? Busch Gardens there? Is that Mayo on a roller coaster? I didn't picture Mayo as a roller coaster guy, did you?
No, not at all.
With that food that he's juggling, because he doesn't really chew his food either, does he? Doesn't he just kind of swallow it whole?
He just swallows it.
Let him have his raw oysters today, man. And you know what? I won't touch him. Just let him have that.
Yeah, he doesn't even get. I have nothing against raw oysters, but if you're gonna get the oysters at Even Keel, they do great grilled oysters, but he gets the raw ones. And there's nothing wrong with raw oysters, but wouldn't you get the grilled? Whatever. I don't understand.
No, you can't be trying to analyze what Mayo's thinking when he makes those orders. He does sound like a funeral director, though, when he's doing it, right? I mean, and restaurateurs are ready to do anything. I mean, they're just jumping up and down to accommodate. Oh, you like the prime rib? Yeah, no, that's already in, Mike. Oh, you want another one? Okay. How many lobsters?
Yeah, they brought out 3 lobsters yesterday. 2 lobster tails and 2 lobsters. What do you mean
what a racket this is, man, this Mike Mayo's lunchbox. I mean, that's unbelievable.
Is they're like, do you guys want more food? I'm like, more food? There's only 3. What do you think we eat?
That was stuff, man. That was it.
I was done.
All right, kid. I'll see you. Even Keel Fish Shack, right there in Lauderdale by the Sea, A1A and commercial. There's you can't drive through that street now.
Okay.
Which you don't anyway, because I park in that little parking lot across the street.
You mean A1A? Because they look like they were starting to do some stuff.
No, A1A is fine. It's the commercial boulevard. Like as you get across A1A, you can't drive a car through there anymore.
Yeah, they blocked it off.
One block, yeah.
I saw that last time.
You could work your way around it, but it gets tricky if you're uninitiated. In terms of the geography of the area there. But yeah, I guess it's going to be really good. They're going to close that to through traffic and have a bunch of tables out there. Supposedly.
That'd be cool. Yeah,
because they have a lot of restaurants there. I mean, they got ice cream places and sandwich shops,
the taco,
all kinds of stuff. Yeah,
Aruba. They got a lot going on.
It's going to be fun. All right. We'll see you at 12 o'clock today. Mike Mayo's Lunchbox with the great Mike Mayo. Yes. For Mike Lubie Lubitz, Tony Segreto, Ed Garcia, I'm Jeff DeForest. Thanks tomorrow. Hialeah Park Trivia Challenge. Any word from Gergs?
Spoke with Gergs tomorrow morning. Another edition. We've had 3. It's finally a week where we've had 3 different winners. Let's see who wins tomorrow. We had a new caller yesterday. We would love to have some new players.
New players is what we're looking for. New blood is what it's called.
Hialeah Park Trivia Challenge. Gergs will be in. Join us. It's a lot of fun. We'd love to have you.
Nothing against the regulars, man. They've sustained us, and been loyal to us for many, many years. So we love you guys too. But we need some new influences on the show just to see what level of intellect is out there.
Yep.
And some real brain teasers there from Dave Gurgles Gurgley. So I think you'll enjoy that if you're not familiar with it. It's a lot of fun. And then Friday, a Degenerate Friday.
Yes.
And of course, we'll cap off the week being out there with the Lunchbox at Gulfstream Park, which is always kind of a treat for me, huh? I've got my Saratoga entries in front of me right now. I'll see you later on Mike Mayo's Lunchbox as we leave you now that.
The time.
It's 9:02.
Let's go to eat a damn snack.
Look what they done to my soul.